Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Gisela K. This is Grizzly True Crime and today's case takes us to the UK. In fact, let me just quickly bring up a little map here for us like this so that we can just have a look. Thank you so much all for being here. Please like and share so others can also learn about this case. Please note that this does of course come with a trigger warning because it is horrifying. Okay, it's about a little girl that was 2 years and 9 months old. It will infuriate you because it's again a case about a mother who did absolutely nothing. We've looked at a few cases like this. It reminds me so much of Harmony Renee's case, known in the media as Harmony Montgomery's case. Remember Adam Montgomery and Kayla Montgomery? This case is very similar to that. This happens so quickly. Okay, so if we look at the map, we're in the UK now. Okay, so here's Wales, here's England. So we're going to England, right? And the journey here starts off in a Biggleswade. And we're going to look who lived there, why, what, all of that. There was a couple there, right? And Bedford. And then the St. George's Hotel around this area here. There was a haven on Chester-on-Sea as well. So this couple traveled quite a bit. So I'm showing you the map here. And we end up here in Ipswich. Ipswich? Did I say it right? Anyone from the UK here? UK Grizzlies, are you in chat? Is it Ipswich? Is that how I say it? I've been trying to practice all day. Kelly Ann says, hey G and Grizzlies, thanks for being a member for 23 months. Okay, so as usual, I've got a presentation for you. Also, let me just quickly say, thank you so much to everyone who's been spoiling the mods with Christmas coffees. You can still buy them Christmas coffees. I will send them all the coffees from the last 3 months, including all these Christmas coffees, just before Christmas Day. Probably on Christmas Eve. So thank you so much. And thank you also to everyone who sent me Christmas coffees, as well as everyone who sent me PayPals, who's joined Patreon. I really appreciate your support. Okay, so here we go. Trigger warning, all right? Are we ready? This case is about Isabella Jonas-Wheildon. I've also heard some people report Isabella Rose Wheildon. So I don't know if her second name was Rose, but the police said Isabella Jonas-Wheildon. Oh, very nice. Stefan said pronunciation is spot on, G. I know the football club there. Very nice. Okay. So Isabella was born in London, England on September 22nd of 2020 to her mother. I'm going to do it like this again. You guys know when I do this, mother. Yeah. Can we really call her a mother after you find out everything about her? Her mother, Chelsea Gleason-Mitchell, and her father, Thomas Wheildon. So on the right-hand side, there's a picture of her mother, of little Isabella, and her biological father, Thomas Wheildon. In May of 2023, Chelsea, 23 years old, reconnected with a man that she had dated in the past named Scott Jeff, also 23. Apparently, the two of them had worked at a pub together for a short time, something like that. They'd crossed paths there. And within, I kid you not, 36 days of rekindling their relationship, on June 26th of 2023, she was 2 years old and 9 months, Isabella was murdered by him. She died from the abuse inflicted by this POS right here. Okay. Now, Chris Marr says, okay, Chester is pronounced Caister. Caister? And it's in Norfolk, not Wales. Yes, I know it's in Norfolk. I was just showing on the map where Wales is. Just so we all look where it is, okay? So we're in the UK, right? So Lou says evening all, evening all. Okay, and look how beautiful she was. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to show you some CCTV footage and things like that were released as well as we go through this timeline. So Chelsea met Scott. Look at this guy. In Biggleswade, Bedfordshire in 2019. They dated for a bit, but the relationship ended due to issues related to substance abuse. He had allegedly introduced her to all those things I can't say on YouTube, to a variety of substances, as you can read on the screen. Chelsea was a nursery assistant, and my brain could not accept that. I thought surely she worked with plants then. Do they mean like a nursery for plants? Clearly not with kids, right? Based on this case, kids? No, she did. So a professional who works in early childhood education settings such as nurseries, preschools, or daycare centers. Nursery assistants play a crucial role in providing a nurturing environment A nurturing environment. Interesting. All right. That supports early learning and development, often under the guidance of more senior educators like nursery teachers or managers. When they broke up, then Chelsea met a new man, Thomas Wheildon, a painter and decorator apprentice, in December of 2019. So are you gathering? The bad guy, the POS, right? The killer. Okay. She dated him briefly, and then they broke up, and then she met Thomas. Okay. And Thomas is the biological father of Isabella. So they met in December 2019. Thank you so much, Amy K. I really appreciate that. So Chelsea fell pregnant quickly, and in September of 2020, Isabella was born, and the family seemed happy. You can see them on the right-hand side again. That would be Chelsea with Thomas, and she was pregnant, ready to have Isabella, and she was born, and she was the cutest little girl, and she looked so happy in all the photos. Actually, really right up until the end, but, she was so happy before this guy walked into her life. And for 36 days, within 36 days, she was dead. That is just so shocking. So in April of 2023, Chelsea and Thomas, so Chelsea and baby daddy, broke up and subsequently started fighting over the custody of little Isabella. In the meantime, Chelsea rekindled her relationship with Scott, who then he looked at Isabella and he believed that Isabella was his biological daughter because of the timing of Chelsea's pregnancy. He apparently, as I say, thought she looked just like him, but that's pretty weird if he thought that, to then inflict such horrifying abuse on her. We have seen cases like that before, like Adam Montgomery, but he wasn't the biological father. That was later proven. Susie Snarking says, here for the snark. I mean, I must say, this case, I've been so upset today just studying this case and so angry. I've done a lot of eye rolling already, okay? I wish you could see all the behind the scenes of me like, oh my word, as I discover more. So look at her. Just look at her. And there's Chelsea with Isabella. There's her mother who just gave the soul up for a man. Okay, and not even a man, like some baby boy, some POS, as I say. Now, Chelsea's mother did not approve of the relationship with Scott in the past, so now Chelsea kept it a secret. So when her and Thomas broke up, she then decided to rekindle this relationship. She wanted to be back with her bad boy, and she wouldn't tell her own mom because she would know. Her mom would be like, no, like all he does is like drink and take substances, and he's a bad influence on you, and yeah, you have a little girl to look after now. She quit her job within days of rekindling her relationship with him in May of 2023. So you see there's already the influence. She quit her job. She's like, let's be together. It's kind of like, let's be runaways together. Bad boy. Oh no. The couple decided to hit the road and travel to Great Yarmouth, where they stayed in the Nelson Hotel for a few days with Isabella. So that is why when I show you this map here, they went from this Bedford area and they traveled all the way, I think on a bus or a train. I think it was on a train actually. They traveled all the way to this Great Yarmouth area. All right. So you could see that they stayed in various locations. I'm going to talk about now this Caister-on-Sea, St. George's Hotel, things like that. Okay. So here we go. We keep going with our presentation. All right, so they hit the road, they traveled to Great Yarmouth. So you see, when we study abusers and now child killers like this guy, the first thing he did was isolate Chelsea and her daughter. So that's already a huge red flag. The fact that she didn't want to tell her mother that she'd rekindled this relationship, the fact that she quit her job, the fact that they then traveled far away from their hometown and not to live with family or anyone. We're talking living in caravan parks, in tents on the beach. We're talking begging the government for housing, And all this time, Chelsea, though, didn't ask anyone for help because she so badly wanted to be with this guy. That's what she told friends. That's what she said in court. She prioritized the relationship above her daughter and above actually anything. Okay? So they traveled, it's almost like, as I say, like runaways. They were then both 23 years old. She's got this little girl who's 2 years and 9 months old, and off they go. Chelsea tried to get government housing in the Great Yarmouth Borough Council by lying that she had escaped an abusive relationship. So now she was blaming the biological father of her daughter for being an abuser. Meanwhile, in reality, she's with one. She's with one. He's like right there. You're in love with an abuser who is abusing your child for a month and then she dies from all the abuse. Okay? But to think that she had the audacity to taint her ex's name and say, yeah, now, okay, I've run away. Okay, so I'm going to need some shelter. I'm going to need some government housing. You pay for us. But I really want this guy to be with me. So not just for me and my daughter. Yeah, I'm going to bring Scotty boy along over here. So she lied that Scott was also the father of her daughter. And so they told her, you know what? You are the responsibility of the Bedfordshire authorities. We can't help you because her home affairs and everything would be registered in Bedfordshire. So they told her, just go back home and then you can get housing there. They then rented a caravan for 4 nights at Caister-on-Sea, a holiday park, where they left Isabella alone for hours at a time. Apparently, Chelsea told her man that she's really worried, that she thought maybe it's not appropriate to leave a 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old, 2 years, 9 months, in a caravan alone for hours while they're like pub crawling and they're just going out and about and having a great time. And he said, it's fine. She'll be just fine. Evie said, this man seems like so many others we've seen. Yeah, Darvo, deny, attack, reverse, victim, offender, right? Hetty and Mabel said, excellent pronunciation so far, Gisela, from Tracy in Wales. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, and the two of them were taking substances, okay? So I see people asking in the chat as well. Sherry Ann Wood said, thank you for covering this. I'm in Bedford and this blows minds. Rest easy, beautiful Baba. Thank you so much. This case, okay. I'm going to try to remain calm. It makes me very upset. Okay, so they rented this caravan for 4 nights at Caister-on-Sea holiday park where they left Isabella alone for hours at a time. Now, let me just quickly see this timeline because I want to show you some of the footage that they have here. Okay, so check this out. So the police have released this and they say Thursday, June 1st of 2023, Scott Jeff and Chelsea Gleason-Mitchell and Isabella Wheildon leave their home in Bedfordshire and travel to Great Yarmouth via train.
Don't take your jacket off.
What are you doing? You gonna play?
Now, here's where they're at that holiday park. Thursday, June 8th, the Caister-on-Sea holiday park. Okay, so they've got lots of footage of little Isabella with Scott, with Chelsea. So, they're showing, this was obviously shown at a trial that happened since October 7th of 2024 and lasted 7 weeks. And they've already been sentenced, which is why this case is now back in the news. So there they go. Now, this is very scary to see because here, Isabella is alive. Okay, this was Friday, the 9th of June of 2023. By the 26th, she would be dead and they would continue to push her around in this pushchair, stroller, pram, whatever you call it in your country. In South Africa, we say pram. I think in America, you say stroller. In the UK, they're saying pushchair. They left her body in this pushchair, wrapped in blankets, okay, and wheeled this stroller around for 3 days. They went to the pub. They went to McDonald's. They went to get lemonade, all sorts of things. We're still going to get to that, but this is the time we can actually see the stroller that they refer to later. So this was now Friday, 9th of June, Caister-on-Sea Holiday Park. As you can see there, she is now with Scott, the killer. He has been sentenced. He's a convicted killer now, okay? So there's Chelsea in the shadows. Okay, now we're going to get to this part next, so hold on. Okay, let me just check that I'm not missing anything. Faux Brit says Bedfordshire, is that it? Okay, and Bev DeRiggi says, can you elaborate on what is a caravan? Like a camper? I was going to say, it's not like an RV, a caravan. A camper van. Right? Okay, so by the 9th of June of 2023, they had run out of money. Right? So they were staying at that K-Store-on-Sea holiday park. They ran out of money. So they decided to go to the St. George's Hotel, which catered to homeless families. Because first I was like, they ran out of money but went to a hotel. Oh, the hotel helps out homeless families. So they went there. They left Isabella alone in the room. While they gallivanted, they were seen sitting on the steps outside, smoking, MJ, doing their own thing. Isabella was 2 years and 9 months old at the time, and Scott was given the task, by this mother of potty training her. And he was getting angry because they were both taking substances, and he had a very, very short fuse, violent temper. And when she had accidents, he would get increasingly angry, increasingly abusive, starting by slapping her on the hand. Then he started giving her cold showers. Then he started making her eat to the point where she vomited. And so the abuse escalated. So again, trigger warning. If you're only joining now, we are discussing a case of a little girl who was murdered and her mother did nothing. She let her boyfriend murder her child and she did absolutely nothing. Okay? So, when bruises and signs of the abuse started to show, Chelsea dressed Isabella in sunglasses and a big jacket to hide the evidence. Do you think she tried to get up to a payphone, to call the police, to tell anyone? No, she didn't. In fact, she's just like, ooh, put a jacket on and here's some sunglasses and just basically walk it off. They only stayed at this hotel, the St. George's Hotel, for 3 nights. And already then, others staying there started to knock on the door to ask if everything was okay because they heard the little girl crying, gurgling, and screaming. And see, then they left. And I would speculate they left because Scott would have said, well, people are noticing now. People are going to notice what's happening here. Apparently, someone knocked on the door at 2 a.m. And when the doors opened, which I would assume by Chelsea, Scott was in the background, like whipping a towel against the wall. And they said, is everything okay here? And he said, no, things go bump in the night. Or some weird thing like that is what he said, which is just, what? Like, what is wrong with this guy? Everything. Okay, so anyway, so they left. They were only at that hotel, which helps out homeless families, for 3 nights, and off they went. Where'd they go? They left the hotel and they went to live in a tent on the beach. Yeah, this guy prioritizes safety, doesn't he? Nice guy. Right? What a catch. Okay, so they went to live in a tent on the beach, and so concerned locals called the police to then do a welfare check, which again, if you see something, say something. I'm grateful that the concerned locals called. Many called apparently, and they said, please, can you do a welfare check? There's a little girl living on the beach with her mom and some guy, Probably maybe they thought dad, but like with these two, this is not a safe environment for her, obviously. And so we're going to see a clip of the police approaching her, but just let me first tell you this. On June 16th of 2023, the police went to check on Chelsea and Isabella. And they told her that there would be a place for them to stay. So Isabella's alone. She's at the tent, as you can see in the picture. We're going to look at a clip now. She's alone. Where's Scott? He's in a pub, charging his phone. That's what Chelsea tells the police. And so they don't show us the whole clip, but I did read up on all this. So basically, they say, hey, this isn't safe for you. A police officer, a female police officer. So you can't say maybe she was intimidated because it's no, a female police officer tells her, we can help you. We could find you a place to stay. And Chelsea turns down their help because she wanted to be with Scott. They basically said, well, I think it would be like for a mother and child, maybe it's for females only, but she's like, no, I don't want to because I want to be with Scott. Doesn't that just make you so freaking mad? She could have at that point said, listen, man, my boyfriend is at a pub right now, but he is abusing my child, okay? Like, things are bad, help me. No, instead, she was like, I want him, yeah. Okay, so check this out. We'll just go back a few seconds. Are you ready? Here you go.
I understand you might be homeless. Yeah? Is your partner here?
No, he's at the old
At the pub charging his phone at the moment.
At the old hall?
Yeah.
Tell me, right, so first of all, sort of really need to know who you are,
Yeah.
the situation,
Yep.
what we can do to help, because it's not the best place in this heat for your little girl,
No.
is it?
No.
No? Are you okay? You all fitting well?
Yes.
How long have you been down here?
We've been here for 3 weeks.
Okay, so this now gets to the next one. They take a train again. And look at little Isabella with sunglasses and this huge jacket. I mean, it was the summer. That's not normal. But when I see this clip here and you just see little Isabella in the background, look at her. Shame. We're going to show it again quickly.
Who you
here.
are?
Look at her in the background there. Oh man, this poor little girl. And this was 10 days before she was murdered. She was already, trigger warning, her bones were already being broken, okay? I know she's standing here, she looks okay for now, but you know what I mean. Like, her bones were being broken. She had black eyes, she had bruises all over her body. She was being stomped on. Within 10 days from this video, you see here where this creature turns down the police's help for a place to stay. Her daughter's dead.
The situation,
Yep.
what we can do to help, because it's not the best place
Shame.
in this heat for your little girl,
No.
is it?
No.
No? Are you okay? You all fitting well?
Yes.
Yeah, fit and well.
How long have you been down here?
We've been here for 3 weeks.
Okay, so we keep going. Okay, so on June, they left the hotel, lived in a tent. Yeah, on June 16th of 2023, the police went to check on Chelsea, and Isabella told her that they would be a place to stay, and Chelsea, of course, turned it down. She wanted to be with Scott. No, thank you. We're fine. After 3 weeks on the beach in a tent, they packed up and traveled to another holiday park in Norwich. Norwich? Which one is it? Okay, on June 18th of 2023, it was Father's Day in the UK. Oh, you guys don't even. This case will make me too angry. Okay. All right, so it was Father's Day in the UK, and Chelsea gifted Scott with beers, apparently 3 cans of beer, and a card that read, "Best dad ever." So, can you believe that? Best dad ever, while he's abusing her daughter. Okay, best dad ever, not even like best lover ever. That would make some sense. Okay. Clearly she's addicted to him or something. But like, best dad ever? Are you crazy? On June 19th, they traveled from Norwich to Ipswich, and they had found temporary accommodation. So this is what they show here, is them traveling from Norwich to Ipswich. Norwich, okay, says Lily Pauly. Thank you so much. Shame. Oh no, shame. You could see the bruises on her face here as well when they show her quickly. Okay, here it also says Monday, June 19th at 11:08 p.m., temporary accommodation in Ipswich. Again, what a catch. Well, both of them, but like what? She gave up literally everything to be with this guy. Her job, her family, her friends, and her daughter. Clearly, her daughter's life. This was June 23rd at 7:46 p.m., 2023, leaving the temporary accommodation, and they return approximately 15 minutes later. This was on June 26th, the day that Isabella died, and Scott Jeff's arm was in a sling. And that, if that's not a trigger warning, I don't know what is. Because, yeah, we can only imagine how he got those injuries. And yes, on his hands, on his knuckles, he's got tattooed "Pure Hell." Apparently, he really liked to scare Isabella as well. He made a gun with his fingers and pretended that he was shooting her and made her cry. He shouted in her ear, like close range in her face, shouted at her. He said "boo," to give her big frights all the time as well. He really liked to scare her. Very sadistic. Sorcha Joe said, "This infuriates me so much." Yes, me too. Okay, so Norwich, we've confirmed the pronunciation. Norwich, thank you so much. Because it's Ipswich, I think. and not IPSWICH. Am I right? Okay, I want to get it right. So this was June 26th. Okay, we're going to get to some very upsetting information in my presentation now. So let's just see what this one is about quickly. Isabella is believed to have died at approximately 11:37 p.m. on Monday, the 26th of June. Okay, so let's go here for a moment again, and then I'm going to show you footage of them 30 minutes after Isabella died, and you're going to see Chelsea smiling. It sounds like I'm like it's like a movie, like a horror movie. What is this? But yeah, for real, smiling. Okay, so on June 26th, believed that Isabella died at the hands of Scott at approximately 11:37 p.m. The couple left their temporary accommodation 30 minutes later and were smiling. Scott then made a lot of Google searches, planning how they could escape to Scotland, to Amsterdam. He was trying to get a flight to Amsterdam. He was trying to get a train to Amsterdam. He was trying to get to Scotland or anywhere else, even around where they were, just wherever they could afford. In the trial, Chelsea said Scott had asked her to buy a shovel, that effectively they were readying themselves for disposing of Isabella. He apparently wanted to bury her body or burn and bury her body. They were making plans together. So when it was time for trial, what was her defense? It was coercive control. I talk about coercive control a lot, but I'm like, damn, but you participated a lot, huh? You participated a lot in this. She wasn't unaware or terrified. She was having a great time. Based on all appearances, drinking with him, smoking with him, who knows, doing what else with him at the time. Of course, Isabella died within 36 days of Scott being back in Chelsea's life. That is just unbelievable. Within 36 days. Like, remember when Chelsea had dated Scott in the past, she wasn't pregnant yet. She didn't have Isabella yet. And then she met Thomas, she got pregnant, and she had Isabella. And then she rekindled the relationship with Scott. So that's the first time he met this little girl, this most beautiful little girl, happy little girl. And within 36 days, she was dead. Now, again, this comes with a trigger warning because I'm going to be describing what they stated, how she died, what happened to her, what were her injuries like, and it's very upsetting, all right? Tomizawa, oh, thank you so much. You said, this is so terrible. Then the Maddie Soto debacle. This is terrible, indeed. Okay, so her injuries were described as high-velocity traffic accidents or being kicked by a horse. That's how bad it was. She had traces of substances in her system. You can read what they are on the screen. The medical examiner ruled that Isabella died from a bone marrow embolism as a consequence of skeletal trauma. She had fractures to both her wrists and a complex pelvic fracture involving several bones likely to have been caused by kicking or stamping or stomping that were likened to injuries seen in car crashes. Apparently, Chelsea was aware of those injuries. She said she saw bleeding of her little girl in the pelvic region. But, she just covered it up, just dress her up, wrap her in blankets, like whatever, make like it's just going to go away. There were also soft tissue injuries to her head, to her neck, torso, limbs, and back, as well as a torn perineum, while traces of substances were in her blood, probably from being close to the substances as they were being smoked, and traces were also in her hair. Professor Anthony Fremont, a bone pathologist, told at the trial that he had never before seen such a severe pelvic injury to a child in his 40-year career. Scott would kick and stamp on the toddler and punish her with cold showers, all while her mother stood by and did nothing. And the judge really called her out for that. And she admits it. She admitted she did nothing. She was just there because, she wanted to be with him. Like, I don't know. Can't even. So she thought it was just a phase. When asked, why did you do nothing? She thought it was just a phase. Maybe it was the potty training that was frustrating him. And maybe, Isabella would do better and get through it. Or maybe it's because he couldn't get hold of the substances he wanted and he just got angry about it and took it out on Isabella. But it's just a phase. Just a phase. I can't even. It should never, ever, ever happen, not even one time, even from the first time he slapped her daughter on the hand. And her justification is, I thought it was just a phase. I don't know. I wanted to be with him. He has pure hell tattooed on his knuckles, as I said earlier. But just look at her. Look at this little girl. So on June 30th of 2023, Chelsea decided to message a friend, Joanne Gardner, who apparently testified at the trial. Okay, and she messaged her on Facebook and she told her that Isabella had died in her sleep 3 days ago and that they had left her. They left her body in a public restroom at the East Villas housing unit they were staying at. Her friend told her to immediately call the police, but Chelsea said she couldn't because we'll get done for it. She said Isabella had black eyes and was covered in bruises. So she wasn't even like, whoa, I can't call the police. Because not only will they find my daughter deceased in her stroller in the bathroom of a public restroom. Well, the restroom at this temporary housing unit. But when they find her, they're going to see all the bruises. We can't. She says, we will get done for it. Which means we'll get locked up for it, you know. We're going to get punished for this. She said Isabella had black eyes and was covered in bruises. So the friend immediately called the police. Well done to the friend, Joanne Gardner, because she was like, oh, hell no, I'm calling the police. So she called the police, and the police actually went there that same day. But in the meantime, between the 26th and the 30th, for 3 days, that couple wheeled Isabella's lifeless body around in her push chair or stroller. They went to buy lemonade at a service station. They visited a pub. They went to McDonald's, and I mean with the stroller, with her deceased body in it, wrapped in blankets. They went to McDonald's. They got on a bus. They went to the IPSWICH town center. They bought Xbox controllers with I don't know what money, and they put the shopping bags, plastic bags with the Xbox controllers on top of her body. Yeah, these two. Oh my goodness. So we're going to just see some clips in a moment. I just want to quickly see what's next here, because I want to keep it up with the timeline here. Okay. So check this out. We're going to get to this, right? Check this out. Here they say Tuesday, June 27th at 12:07 a.m. Remember, they believe that she died on June 26th at 11:37 p.m. So half an hour later, okay, 30 minutes after police believe Isabella had died. This is what they look like. 30 minutes later. Are you ready? Okay, look what they're doing. And then June 27th, Google searches made on Scott Jeff's phone. Flight to Scotland price. Train to Amsterdam. Do you need a passport to Amsterdam? Do you need a passport to Amsterdam from London on the train? Cheapest flight within the UK. Now this, this is, look at him. I don't even know what he's trying to do. Okay. I don't know if he's trying to act like, let's just act happy. Everything's normal. At this time, they have the stroller, the pushchair with Isabella's body in it, and they're walking around town. As I said, going to McDonald's, going to the train station, all of that. Cherry Ann Wood said, why didn't she give Isabella to family? Awful. I know, right? This was her little secret, her little hot man. Not hot, but you know what I mean. She was just like, oh yes. So he did all these Google searches, and then look at this craziness here. Look at her. And she just thinks he's such a funny guy. This is Thursday, June 29th, 11:40 a.m., waving to the driver after disembarking a bus, following a trip into town. He's like, yeah, cool. Bye, Mr. Bus Driver. They were on the bus with the stroller with Isabella's deceased body in it. She died, remember, on the evening of June 26th. This was June 29th at 11:40 a.m. So it's like 3 days after she had died. She's been dead for 3 days. This little girl. They're pushing the stroller around. That's why. Do you see? If you watch the Adam Montgomery trial with me, you'll understand. Or if you read the PCA, which is just horrifying, with me. There's a playlist for it. You can go check it out. It is so similar. Do you remember how Kayla Montgomery and Adam Montgomery wheeled Harmony Montgomery or Harmony remains around in like a bag, and they had their 2 other kids right next to the bag with the body in it? Oh my goodness. And here it's like, oh my word, you're like pushing a stroller around with a little dead girl in it. In public, on the bus and everywhere. In McDonald's. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we're going to continue with this timeline. I just want to see here. This is Friday, June 30th at 2:10 a.m. returning to the temporary accommodation. Gleeful. Look at them. She's so excited to be with him. And this is also on June 30th, and that was at a pub. One more time. Just let's look at the joy that she's showing here. After all that, look at her. Here he comes. And she's like chasing him. Right? And so here they are at a pub. And apparently from this footage, you could, because they just show this picture here. It says case is altered pub in Ipswich. And this was on Friday, June 30th. This was the day when Chelsea had messaged her friend. This was the day when Chelsea's friend had phoned the police. So they were about to get in trouble, big trouble, okay? But not quite yet, almost. The next day they got arrested. But here they are at a pub. And apparently you could see on this footage, which the screenshot is taken from, Scott moving Isabella's body, like picking it up and moving it and putting it back in the stroller. Again, she had been dead for 3 days, okay? So let's quickly see what the next slide is. Google searches made on Scott Jeff's phone. That was June 30th between 3 p.m. and 3:35 p.m. So let's quickly look at that, and then we'll go back to the presentation. So look what he searched. Dead in Ipswich. Is that, yeah. Taxis in Ipswich. Trains from Ipswich. Why does he, what? Dead in Ipswich? Really? You're going to research that? Trains from. Sex with a C. Cash converters, or just CEX, whatever that is. Trains from Ipswich to Southend in C. June 30th, Woodbridge Road, Ipswich. So let's quickly go back to this. On June 30th of 2023, the police went to the accommodation they believed that Chelsea and Scott were staying at in Ipswich. And as Chelsea told her friend that they had left Isabella's body in the restroom, the police went into that restroom and, to their horror, they found the pushchair, the stroller, in a shower stall. Okay, pushed into a shower stall. Her body was wrapped in blankets. And yes, she was covered in bruises and her bones were broken. In the meantime, the couple had left the area and they traveled to Bury St. Edmunds, which is 26 miles or 41 kilometers away. Is that so? Okay, thank you so much. Miss B. Haven says CEX is buy and sell games, DVDs, phones, etc. Okay, it's a cash converters where they would have bought secondhand Xbox controllers. Thank you so much for that, because I wasn't sure. What is he researching now? What is he I don't know. Thank you very much, everyone. So they left the area. So that's interesting timing, because the police were really hot on their heels. The police were just about to get to their temporary housing where they had left Isabella's body. So on the same day that the police discovered Isabella's body, they're out of there. And they spent 6 hours in the pub, laughing and drinking. Chelsea and Scott were arrested in Bury St. Edmunds, Suffolk, on the 1st of July of 2023. So the next day, right? Marie says they are acting for the cameras to look happy and innocent. How depraved they are. Absolutely. Okay, so let me show you this again as well. So here you can see them on that same day where the police were now making their way to that temporary housing. Here as well. My word. Same day when they were going to discover their body, Isabella's body. And here at 4:55 p.m., Ipswich train station, and now they're leaving the area. On the train, as it arrives in Bury St. Edmunds, look how happy she is, smiling, laughing with her man. Jenna Kane says, thank you for being a member for 1 month. Thank you so much. Evie says, and they thought they could get away with this despite the public? I know, right? Like, I know that we all know that the UK's got a lot of surveillance cameras, a lot of CCTV. So what were they thinking? Or is that why they were acting so happy, as if nothing was wrong? Maybe that was their whole strategy. Just like pretend nothing happened and walk around with the stroller for 3 days. Equestrian 100 says, gee, I'm so sorry you had to go into so much of the story, but so appreciate your dedication. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, Kathleen said 6 hours in a pub, that's almost a full day's work. Yeah, 6. Now, by this time, they must be quite drunk. And they're just arriving in this other place, Bury St. Edmunds, you know, a little while away, while the police are now going to the temporary accommodation and finding Isabella's body. Here it says the Corn Exchange, Bury St. Edmunds, Friday 30th of June at 6:28 p.m. There she is, having a great... Does it look like someone who is being controlled, who's fearful, who wants to just like look for the police? I don't think so. Cover a lot of cases where that could be the case. Not this one. I don't think so. I can't believe that she looks happy. If you didn't know the context of this case, and if you're just joining the stream now and you see this, does she not look happy? You know nothing about the case, right? And even if you do, can you believe that she looks like this? She's having a great time. While her daughter's body's left in a shower stall at temporary housing restrooms. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Pernille said, boozing like Leilani and Mom. If you guys have not followed Quentin Simon's case, there is a whole playlist. We watched the Leilani Simon trial together. Go and check that out, right? Yeah, Stefan says she looks really happy here. Unbelievable. Yes. Laura says, the best place for me is here. I love Grizzly True Crime and the love here in the Grizzly family. Thank you so much, Laura. Okay, so this was at 10:17 p.m. on Friday, June 30th. Look at her. They have another photo of her. Just having a great time, as I say. Okay, then. So, I think, is this now going to the... Yeah, okay, we're going to get to the arrest videos in a moment here. So, they were arrested. The police, thankfully, with all the CCTV and everything, found them and arrested them in that Bury St. Edmunds area, Suffolk, on the 1st of July of 2023. And what's one of the first things he says is, I didn't murder her. Sure. He's like, oh, no, I didn't. No. Natural causes. Right. Kathleen says, with her chilled glass of rosé. Yes. Sal Portley says, Casey Anthony. So Scott was charged with the murder of Isabella, causing or allowing the death of a child, and 2 counts of cruelty to a child in relation to those 2 substances you can see on the screen. What was Chelsea charged with? She was charged with causing or allowing the death of a child, cruelty to a child in relation to the substances, both of them. So 2 of those charges. She pleaded not guilty to the murder charges, but she admitted to the other charges. They both went on trial on October 7th of 2024, which lasted 7 weeks, which is actually pretty long, right? But, you know, I guess it could also be quite standard. There must have been a lot of information. That's where all this footage comes from as well. Hello to Interrogation Files. You said, good afternoon, Grizzly True Crime and Grizzlies. Happy holidays. And to you as well. Now, he was sentenced to a minimum of 26 years in prison for murder. If you guys didn't know, many of you I know from the USA, and I know we see a lot of LWOP, okay? Life without parole, maybe the death penalty, things like that in the USA. In the UK, Europe, South Africa, we don't have the death penalty, and sentences, especially in Europe and the UK, are a lot shorter than you might expect, okay? So... minimum of 26 years. He's 24 years old now. Him and Chelsea are 24 years old, okay? He was sentenced to a minimum of 26 years in prison for murder. Chelsea was acquitted of murder, but sentenced to 10 years for the other charges that she admitted to. Do you think that's enough? Okay. High Court Judge Mr. Justice Neil Garnham described Chelsea as a weak and spineless person and pathetically desperate. And I just love that he said that. Like, snark it up, sir. Tell her. I wonder what he said. I would have loved to see the trial. Of course, they didn't have cameras in the courtroom. You know, but I would have loved to see the trial, to see what else he said. What did he say to the guy? Rion the Diva, welcome. If anyone's just joining membership today, please check out the members only playlist because we had a really great members only stream yesterday. So it's also on the community tab, okay? Now, I mean, just look at her with her little Peppa Pig toys, looking so happy there. I mean, she was only 2 years and 9 months old, so, you know, she only experienced 2 birthdays and like 2 Christmases, and she was so young, she would barely remember them. You know what I mean? Like, she's so tiny. Okay, so check this out when they now arrested them.
Right, don't move, okay? Right, I'm arresting you, okay, due to the fact that Isabella, okay, was found alone and deceased at your home address, okay? So I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder. You don't have to say anything with my home defence. You don't mention my question, something which you later will in the court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. The necessity for arrest is obviously to gather evidence, present lost evidence and interview you, okay?
My vape's in my hands, but can you put it back in, like take it off?
Sorry?
I've got my vape in my hands.
I'll take it off you in a second. Just...
Okay,
Right, it's just a vape, yeah?
Yeah, it's just a vape.
Okay. Have you got anything else on you?
I've just got my partner's wallet, that's it. But that's...
He's got a partner's wallet, that's it. What does he have in it? All right. Redacted, says 10 years, that's a, yeah, the substance charge. It was related to those that she admitted to, indeed.
do you understand
Yeah,
what you've been arrested for? Okay.
And I think I've
sure.
got money in the other pocket, but that's from the wallet anyway, so I've just got, but you can...
This is why I've come down here for the day so I can have a drink, and I was going to hand myself into what I've got. But I never murdered her. That...
Just look at this guy. I mean...
The state I was in, I couldn't really deal with the police at that moment in time. I was really not in the right state.
Going back a few seconds here.
This is why I've come down here for the day so I can have a drink, and I was going to hand myself into what I've got. But I never murdered her.
Look at him. But I never murdered her. As he's being arrested. No, I never murdered her. It sounds like you did. Well, now he's been convicted of her murder, of course, as we know. But he's like, I was going to turn myself in tomorrow. No, you weren't. Uncle Google proves otherwise. You were looking for ways to get out of the country, even. You were trying to get to Amsterdam. I don't think Amsterdam would welcome you. Get caught either way, right? So here we go.
That... The state I was in, I couldn't really deal with the police at that moment in time. I was really not in the right state.
It's just rubbish.
So this is just what I was trying to avoid for the night. But I've had my to hand myself in.
Just turn around.
And that's it. Thank you to the Suffolk Constabulary for providing this evidence. Okay, so as we know, you could see that Chelsea was charged with causing or allowing the death of a child, cruelty to a child. You see, so she was acquitted of murder charges, but the 10 years was for cruelty, death of a child, cruelty to a child in relation to the substances. That's what she was eventually charged with. You know, sentenced for 10 years. Wow. Okay, so Thomas, the biological father of Isabella, attended the trial and said he had been unable to work as I'm always tearful, and he tried to find comfort in referring to her in the present tense. Isabella was the most wonderful addition to my life. She was an extension of me, and I miss her every day. Her life was tragically cut short by you, wicked, sadistic, and vile people. He, through the victim impact statements, right? He spoke directly to them. No parent should outlive their child. Part of me died with her, and it pierces my heart every day. You know, because I know people say, well, where's the dad? Well, I mean, she just ran off. You know, they broke up, and immediately she rekindled her relationship with Scott, And then the next minute she quits her job and runs off with them. And within 36 days, let's not forget, it wasn't like 3 years later, 6 years, but 36 days, okay? Isabella was dead. My goodness, okay. Cherry Ann Wood says their sentencing was aired. The judge was so good with a snark. Ooh, Cherry Ann Woods, if you could send that to me. I don't think I've seen their sentencing. That would be amazing to see. Then, if you ever see videos of the live streams that we've already done, don't be alarmed, okay? There's a whole different audience and sometimes just like the videos without the interruptions or the stickers on screen and things like that. And see, then I can add the highlights of the sentencing in there, for example, if I make a video of this case. So, this poor little girl, oh my goodness. I think that's the end of our presentation. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let me quickly see how long we've been live for. Yeah, just under an hour now. So I think that's enough for now. And if I do find that sentencing hearing, or if Cherry Ann Wood sends it to me, then, as I say, we could either, depends how long it is, I'll have to look at it. Maybe we could meet again and watch it together, or I will put the highlights in the video or something like that. I did not see the sentencing. I was so busy down this rabbit hole of what happened to Isabella. It's a lot, right? It's a lot. Okay. So, thank you so much, everyone. I know this case is very upsetting. Please look after your mental health as well. If there's ever cases that I cover and you feel like, you know what, this is just too much for me, please step away if you need to. Just know we always save your seat over here at Grizzly True Crime. You can come back anytime. If you do go, if you could, like and share, that's always helpful as well. If you could leave a comment afterwards as well, so that others can also learn about these cases. I mean, no mother should ever prioritize a relationship above her children. Let alone, I mean, this guy had absolutely nothing to offer. Nothing. What did he have to offer? Really? Right? Well, I don't know. We don't even want to know the answer, is it? It's probably like substances and sex or what? What is it? What do you want from this guy? He did absolutely no good for her life and took her daughter's life. And she's going to have to live with that every day as well, and her part in it. So, I really appreciate you all for being here with me. Thank you so much. And I will see you all again very soon. Make sure you are subscribed. Sometimes YouTube, you know, they automatically unsubscribe you. Make sure you subscribe with your notifications on so that you catch when I'm next live, or I make a video or a YouTube short or a community post or something for you, because I'm always making things for you. So, see you again very soon and stay safe.